come here. Whatever you do, don't let your SEO agency know you're watching this, because I'm about to give you the part that their system usually leaves out: a full 360 content engine. Most of them give you keywords, blog posts, and nice reports, but they stop short of building and running the kind of video-driven content system your business actually needs. So in this episode, I'm going to show you how to systematize your content using a structured, video-driven content engine and give you the exact framework I use to build AI discoverability and real brand growth. So I'm going to say something that might piss a few people off, but if you know me, you know I don't sugarcoat anything. Most content strategies I see are just nicer looking versions of throwing shit at the wall and hoping something sticks. A post here, a video there, a random podcast episode when the calendar's light, a blog post when somebody remembers the website even exists, and underneath it all, the quiet hope that something will magically take off and fix their visibility. That's not a system. That's wishful thinking. A lot of traditional SEO agencies, and even some of the more modern ones talking about AI and content, still don't give you a full 360 content marketing system. They'll tweak your titles, fix your metadata, maybe help you with a few blog posts, but nobody's owning the actual engine that creates and repurposes content across every platform. The whole point of building content is to make it easier for the right people to find you, understand you, and trust how you think before they ever book a sales call. And in 2026, that does not just mean traditional SEO. It means understanding how search, AI answers, and new discovery channels all work together. Because people aren't only finding you through one algorithm anymore. It's all three things. First is SEO, search engine optimization. SEO improves a website's visibility, the quality of the traffic it gets, and its rankings in organic search results. In simple terms, it helps your business get found when people type questions into search engines like Google. If I explain that to a 5-year-old, I'd probably say something like this. SEO is like putting a bright sign on your lemonade stand so people walking down the street can see you and know exactly what you're selling. Second is AEO, answer engine optimization. AEO formats and structures your content so that AI-powered tools and assistants like ChatGPT, Perplexity, and Google AI overviews can easily understand it, read it, trust it, and use it as a direct answer to someone's question. To a 5-year-old, it might sound something like this. AEO is making sure your lemonade recipe is written so clearly that the robot helper can read it out loud when someone asks, "How do I make lemonade?" and it picks your recipe. And third is GEO, Generative Engine Optimization. GEO shapes your digital content so it gets cited, summarized, or directly pulled into responses by AI tools like ChatGPT, Perplexity, and Google Gemini when they create longer, generated answers. For a 5-year-old, I'd probably explain it like this. GEO is what helps the robot helper not just read your recipe, but also use parts of it when it needs the whole story or a big answer about lemonade stands, so your lemonade shows up inside the bigger story. And all three, SEO, AEO, and GEO, are really all about the same thing, making it easier for humans and AI systems to find you, understand you, and trust you across different forms of search. Traditional search, AI answers, and generated responses. And if you only work on one of the three pillars and ignore the others, or if you treat content marketing like a bunch of disconnected tactics, none of the three are really going to work the way that you need them to. The fix isn't more random content. The fix is a content marketing system that ties everything together. And the best way that I've found to do this is with a video podcast at the core. So let's break it down. So when I say content marketing system, I'm not talking about we posted 3 times this week, so we're good. Content marketing activity is what most businesses do. They post when they have time. They chase trends on TikTok and other social media platforms. Maybe they publish a blog because we haven't posted in a while. And maybe they record a podcast episode when the calendar looks empty. It feels like, yeah, we're doing something, but it's not really connected to anything bigger. There's no clear plan, no rhythm, no feedback loop, and definitely no explanation that this content will still be useful or discoverable in 6 months from now. A content marketing system is different. A system is intentional. it's repeatable, and it's built around real questions and real expertise. So when I talk about a content marketing system, I'm talking about 4 core elements. Number 1, topics rooted in real questions. You're not guessing. You're building content around things potential clients actually ask, the problems they complain about, and the decisions that they're currently stuck on. Number 2, a consistent rhythm. Maybe it's weekly, maybe it's bi-weekly, but there is a cadence. Content is not a surprise. It's part of how the business operates. Number 3, a structured workflow. There is a clear process for planning topics, recording a podcast episode, repurposing it into other formats, and publishing it across various platforms. You are not reinventing the wheel every single time. And number 4, a feedback loop. You pay attention to what's getting traction, what's being mentioned in sales calls, and what's starting to show up in search or AI answers. Then you improve the system from there. If your content does not have those 4 elements, you don't have a system. You have a content calendar with hopes and dreams attached to it. And hopes and dreams are not going to make you any more visible in Google, AI search, or anywhere else online. So that's the baseline. Content marketing, if it's going to actually matter for your business, needs to be a system. Now let's talk about how SEO, AEO, and GEO all fit into that system, and then we'll plug it into a video podcast as the content engine. All right, so now that we've defined what a content marketing system actually is, let's talk about how SEO, AEO, and GEO actually fit into that system instead of living on their own little island. And no, not that island. You already heard the lemonade stand version of this, so let's stay with it. SEO is the bright sign on your lemonade stand. It helps people walking by, your potential clients, see you and know what you're selling when they look around or type something into Google. AEO is the clear recipe the robot helper can read out loud. When someone asks, "Hey, how do I make lemonade?" you want the AI assistant to find your recipe, trust it, and use it as the answer. GEO is the bigger lemonade story the robot uses when it puts together a longer explanation. So when someone asks a broader question, something like, "What are the best drinks this summer?" you want pieces of your lemonade story woven into that bigger answer so you still show up. In a real business, the lemonade stand is your brand. The sign is your SEO. The recipe is your AEO. The bigger story is your GEO. Now here's the important part. If your content marketing system is working, you are not just putting up one sign and hoping people walk by. You are also writing the recipe so clearly that the robot helper can read it out loud, and you are telling the lemonade story in a way that AI can reuse and remix inside those bigger answers. Every time you record a video episode, you are updating the sign by giving yourself better titles, stronger episode pages on your website, cleaner written transcripts, and smarter internal links. Those are the pieces that help traditional SEO because they make your content easier to crawl, index, and rank in organic search. And at the same time, you are writing a better recipe for AEO. You're breaking down your ideas step by step, using clear headings and simple language, and you are staying consistent with the words you use around your core topics. That makes it easier for AI tools and answer engines to read your content, understand what you're an expert in, and pull your explanations in as direct answers. You are sharing examples, telling short stories, laying out frameworks, and making strong points that AI can quote, summarize, and weave into longer generated responses. When a system like ChatGPT or Perplexity tries to answer bigger questions and needs credible voices to reference, you've given it something real to work with. Most businesses try to do SEO, AEO, or GEO all as separate projects. They hire one team to fix the sign. They ask another to help with AI content. They sprinkle in some blogs or social media posts and hope the bigger story just takes shape on its own. But if those projects are not coming from one engine, one content marketing system that is built around real questions and consistent podcast episodes, it all just stays fragmented. Nothing compounds and nothing builds authority. That's why I'm planning separate podcast episodes to go with each pillar: modern SEO, AEO, and GEO. And I'm going to tie each one directly back to the video podcast system. But in this episode, I just want you to see the whole picture first. Then we'll zoom into each pillar in its own episode so you understand exactly how your podcast can strengthen your sign, your recipe, and your story. For now, here's what matters. SEO, AEO, and GEO should not be 3 random projects you work on when you get scared about rankings or algorithms. They should be the 3 outcomes of the same content marketing system. A system that starts with a video podcast, A system that turns each episode into website content, written transcripts, short form clips, LinkedIn posts, and clear answers to questions people are already searching for. A system that gives search engines and AI tools something useful to find, read, and reuse. When you build that kind of system, the video podcast is not just another thing you do. It is the engine. If we go back to the lemonade stand, the stand is your business. The sign is your SEO. The clear recipe for the robot helper is your AEO. And the bigger lemonade story that shows up in long AI answers is your GEO. But none of that matters if you never actually make the lemonade. The video podcast is where you make the lemonade. It's where you take your expertise, your opinions, your process, and turn them into something concrete that people and AI systems can see, hear, and understand. And here's a really important point that a lot of people miss. I'm talking about a solo hosted video podcast, not a guest show. A guest-based podcast is fine if you just need an ego boost and like wasting your time. It splits attention, dilutes your point of view, and makes it harder for search and AI systems to see a clear, focused expert behind the content. A solo hosted podcast keeps the spotlight on your expertise, your way of thinking, and your answers to real questions. That's what this system needs. Most businesses treat their podcasts like a hobby. Yeah, we have a show. We put some episodes out when we can. That's not a content engine. That's a hobby, bro. When you use a solo video podcast as the engine for your content marketing system, you're doing 3 big things every time you hit record, and they all matter. First, you're creating depth of expertise. A solo video podcast forces you to explain things, not just tease them. You're not writing a cute caption with a vague tip on social media. You're walking someone through a real problem your clients face, a decision that they're stuck on, a process you use to help them, or a perspective they haven't heard before. That depth is exactly what traditional SEO and answer engines need in order to see you as an authority on that topic. Shallow content does not get cited. Half-assed posts do not get reused in bigger answers. Real explanations do. Second, you're making repurposing easy instead of painful. From one well-structured solo episode, you can turn that lemonade into a bunch of different servings. You get a full video on YouTube. You get audio on all major podcast platforms. You get a detailed written transcript on your website with headings and sections that both humans and AI can follow. You get an episode page or article that can show up in traditional search. You get short form clips for social media. You get quotes and carousals for LinkedIn. You get email content. You get answers you can plug into facts and into places where people and AI assistants are actively asking questions. You're not mixing a new batch from scratch every single time. You're starting with one strong pitcher of lemonade and pouring it into different cups. And third, you're building authority and personal branding without trying to be an influencer. When you consistently publish solo podcast episodes around focused topics, you're slowly building something most businesses never get to, a searchable library of expertise. People start to see patterns. Take me, for example. They hear me talk about business discoverability, authority, AI search, systems, and content marketing in many different ways, but with a clear through line. They see your frameworks and your way of thinking. They see the proof that you've actually done the work. And quietly, search engines and AI tools see that too. So when there are 20, 30, or 50 solo episodes where you've broken down related topics, you're not just another business posting. You're becoming one of the default sources for those topics. That's how you build a moat. Not with one viral TikTok clip, but with a body of work that keeps showing up and keeps helping the right people understand how you think. So when I say the video podcast is the engine, I'm not saying you should start a show because podcasts are cool. What I'm saying is this: if you want SEO, AEO, and GEO to actually work, you need a consistent, deep, and structured source of content that feeds all 3. The podcast is where you make the lemonade. SEO is the sign that points people to it. AEO is the recipe the robots read out loud when someone asks for instructions. GEO is the bigger story that keeps your lemonade in the conversation when AI builds longer answers. Without the solo video podcast at the core, you have a sign with no stand, a recipe with no drink, and a story with nothing real behind it. So if the solo video podcast is where you make the lemonade, the weekly engine is how you keep the stand open without burning out. We're not talking about a one-time sprint here. We're talking about what this looks like when it's truly part of how you run your business every single week. From above, a healthy weekly content engine has 4 parts. First, the questions. Every episode in the system starts with real questions your ideal clients actually asked. Not vague marketing tips or how do I grow faster, but the specific stuff that comes up in real conversations. So if you're a personal injury attorney, that might be something like this. What should I do in the first 24 hours after a car accident in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania? Or who pays my medical bills after a rear-end collision in Scranton, PA? And if you're a real estate broker, it might be something like this. How do I price my home to sell in Wilkes-Barre in 2026? Or should I underprice my listings to get multiple offers in the Scranton market? And if you're a financial advisor, it might be like something like this. Am I saving enough money for retirement if I'm 45? Or how much do I need in my 401k to retire at 60 if I live in Scranton, PA? Those are the kinds of questions people type into Google, ask AI tools, and quietly worry about when they land on your website or watch your content. So in lemonade stand language, those questions are the people walking by asking things like this. Is this lemonade safe to drink? How much does this lemonade cost? And what makes your lemonade stand different from the 5 others that all look and sound exactly the same down the road? That's what should drive your episodes. Second, the episode structure. You are not reinventing the format every single week. You are using the same spine so your content is easy to follow, easy to repurpose, and easy for search and AI to understand. For you, that spine is simple, and it's the same spine we use for all of our episodes and for all of our client shows. We open each one with an intentional short hook that calls out the real problem behind the question. Then we roll into a short warm-up that sets the stage and explains why this topic matters right now and why you should keep watching or listening. Then we break the explanation into 3 to 5 main chunks so it's easy to follow, easy to clip, and easy to turn into a transcript or article. And finally, we close with a clear conclusion that makes the point and tells people exactly what to do next. This isn't theory. This is the exact structure we use every single week. No mixed opinions, no egos, no back and forth, just clear structure, simple systems, and relentless execution. I'm giving you the same exact formula we use behind the scenes because I know that most people will never build this system on their own, and the ones that do are the kind of people who we want as listeners and clients. So whether you're talking about accident cases, listing prices, or retirement plans, the topic changes, but the structure always stays the same. That's what makes it feel natural to listeners and easy to turn into transcripts, website pages, social media clips, and AI-friendly answers. Third, this is where your content goes. The engine is not, we recorded a video and just tossed it up on YouTube. The engine is that every episode has a clear plan for exactly where it shows up. For a typical episode in this system, the full video goes on YouTube with a clear, descriptive, search-friendly title and a straightforward description. A personal injury attorney might use something like this. What to do in the first 24 hours after a car accident in Wilkes-Barre, PA. Or, who pays your medical bills after a car accident in Scranton, Pennsylvania? A real estate broker might use this. How to price your home to sell fast in Wilkes-Barre in 2026. Or, should you underprice your home to get multiple offers in the Scranton market? And a financial advisor might use something like this. Are you saving enough for retirement at 45? A simple way to check. Or, how much do you need in a 401k to retire at 60 if you live in Scranton, PA? Next, the audio version goes out on all major podcast platforms with show notes that outline the key points and repeat those same phrases and keywords in plain and simple language. Your website then gets a dedicated episode page, an intro that explains why this topic matters for your audience, a few key takeaways, timestamps, and a full transcript broken into sections with headings. That page becomes the foundation for your SEO, your AEO, and your GEO. This is the place your lemonade stand actually lives on the internet. Then from that single episode, you carve out short form clips for YouTube and other social platforms, pull a few quotes for LinkedIn, and build emails that point back to the full episode or the main lesson. And fourth is the feedback loop. This is where the system learns instead of just shouting. Every week or every couple of weeks, you have to pay attention to what happened. Did a prospective client mention an episode on a call? Did someone reply to your email saying, hey, that episode finally made this really clear for me? Did someone save or share a clip because the point really hit home? Did you start to see impressions in search or notice AI tools surfacing your pages or summaries? A personal injury attorney might hear something like, "Hey, I watched your video on what to do after a car accident and that's why I called you." A real estate broker might hear something like this: "Your episode on pricing helped me understand why my last listing in Scranton was a total flop." And a financial advisor might hear something like this: "Your retirement episode is why I booked this meeting." So in simple lemonade stand terms, this is you noticing which questions people keep asking at the counter, which signs make them stop, and which explanations actually convince them to buy a cup of lemonade. You then use those signals to refine everything upstream: the questions you pick next, how you title your episodes, how you structure your website pages, and how you explain your core ideas for the people that you want to serve. That's what a weekly content engine actually looks like. You're still making lemonade every week, you're just more intentional about which questions you answer, how you package those answers, where you pour them out, and where you pay attention to after you serve the cup. Whew, all right, you've made it this far. I'm glad you're still here, because it means you actually care about building a real content engine and not just posting random shit online because you feel guilty that you haven't posted in weeks. At this point, you've heard the full picture. You now know and understand the general difference between random content activity and a real content marketing system. You have a general overview of how SEO, AEO, and GEO fit together around your lemonade stand. And now you know the solo video podcast is the engine that makes all of this possible. So what do you do with that? We don't need to go play, "Okay class, pick a topic and just hit record." You need to take a step back and look at your business like the lemonade stand that it really is. Ask yourself this: what are the real questions people keep asking us? Where does our content actually live right now? And finally, if we had a weekly engine, what would it need to do for us in our local market and everywhere else we want to show up online? From there, the next move is simple in concept, even if it's a lot of work in practice. You define your core topics, you design a repeatable solo video podcast around those topics, and you build a system that takes batches of episodes and turns them into the signs, the recipes, and the stories that humans and AI can actually find. That's it. Not a one-off podcast episode, not a random post, a shift in how you think about content from stuff we publish to the engine that makes our business discoverable. Most people will hear this and keep doing what they've always done. A few will decide to build a real system. My goal with this episode is to make sure that if you're one of those few, you know what that system looks like and you're honest with yourself that it's worth building. And if you're listening to this and you know deep down that your current content strategy is really just throwing shit at the wall and hoping something sticks, this is your line in the sand. You can keep doing that, or you can decide your business deserves a real content engine. So in the next few episodes, I'm going to zoom in on each part of this system and get even more specific: modern SEO, AEO, and GEO, and then show you how a solo video podcast can actually strengthen your sign, your recipe, and your bigger story. So if this hits home, make sure you stick around for those. If you know someone else who might find this episode helpful, send them this link. And if you want to start building this thing on your own, rewind this episode, pull out the parts on systems, SEO, AEO, GEO, and the solo podcast, and start sketching out what the engine actually looks like for your business. Even that exercise alone will change the way you think about content. And if you're sitting there and still thinking there's no way in hell I'm going to be able to build this all by myself, but you still want the system, then you're exactly who I had in mind when I made this. Shoot me a DM on Instagram at Bill Corcoran Jr. or drop me a line at billcorcoranjr.com and we can talk about what it would look like to turn your business into the lemonade stand that people and AI systems actually find. Either way, don't go back to pretending random posts are a content strategy. Decide whether you're going to build the engine or not. And if you are, this episode is your blueprint. If you want help building it, that's what I do. Thanks for watching until the end. I cover a lot here, but the conversation doesn't stop with the podcast. I post daily on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn at Bill Corcoran Jr. with quick hits, behind the scenes, and the raw stuff that doesn't always make it into the podcast. Follow along there, and for deeper dives, head over to billcorcoranjr.com.